Greetings, I'm Tom Miller, Director of the Sound Recording Technology Program here at DePaul University. This is one in a series of lectures about my film score, The Complete Metropolis, a project literally 25 years in the making. Today we're going to talk about some of the history of Metropolis, the history of my score, and the technology used to present and record this piece. I first began scoring scenes for Metropolis in the late 1990s to give sound recording students experience working with acoustic instruments and performance students the opportunity to get professional recording experience. Each year, the project attracted more volunteers, and by 2002 I was writing for an ensemble of about 20 musicians. Professor Don DeRoche, director of the DePaul Wind program, played several of these scenes for me and suggested I put them together in a suite and the wind ensemble would perform it live. After solving the technical issues for a live performance, the first 15-minute version of Suite from Metropolis for 24 musicians premiered live with picture at DePaul October 21, 2005. Contemporary film composers have to deal with the constraints of actors and sound effects. Many composers lament about having their music buried under dialogue and explosions. But writing for silent films poses none of those limitations. Couple that with the fact that all the producers are dead, it creates an art form with total freedom for the composer to follow his interpretation of the visual action. The sound of Metropolis draws heavily on the post-romantic harmonic language that composers like Max Steiner used in the golden age of Hollywood. But I also feel free to use 20th century techniques. There are sections created with Arnold Schoenberg's serial 12-tone system, as well as sections that use Pierre Schaeffer's electroacoustic musique concrète processes. Besides Metropolis, I have scored cues to a number of other silent films. In 2006, I scored 3 scenes from the 1923 Lon Chaney version of The Hunchback of Notre Dame for wind ensemble and rock band, which premiered with picture at DePaul in 2006, with subsequent performances at Cornell, Christian Newport University, and Northeastern State. My next project was the 1929 Louise Brooks classic, Pandora's Box. Directed by George Wilhelm Pabst and based on the Frank Wiedekind's plays that also inspired Alban Berg's opera Lulu, Pandora's Box made Brooks the icon of the jazz age. The 4-movement score premiered with picture at Dartmouth College in May 2010 and received its DePaul premiere in May 2011. In 2013, I attacked another masterpiece of German expressionism, the 1922 F.W. Murnau classic, Nosferatu, a symphony of horrors, starring Max Schreck as the vampire Count Orlok. Nosferatu was an unauthorized telling of the Dracula story, and the court subsequently ordered all copies of the film destroyed, but prints eventually surfaced. My 4-movement score premiered with picture at Southern Illinois University in 2013 and had a DePaul performance in 2015. The original 15-minute version of Suite from Metropolis consisted of 4 short scenes. However, for each subsequent performance, I would add another section. In 2011, I scored the actual Metropolis ending, and this expanded version premiered at the University of Connecticut. For a Dartmouth performance in 2014, I added the Dance of Babylon, and in 2015, I added the Tower of Babel, where Maria introduces the story of the Mediator, and Maloche, in which Frieder discovers the underground city. At this point, I began to conceive of a long-term plan to finish editing the film and complete the score. To get away from the concept of a suite and create a more film-like experience, I decided to expand each existing section to create longer, more inclusive segments, and I diminished the time between sections. Metropolis, directed by Fritz Lang, was based on a novel written by his wife, Thea Gabriele von Harbo, specifically to be made into a film. Harbo, a popular writer in Weimar, would become one of Germany's most celebrated early film authors. Originally budgeted at 1.5 million Reichsmarks, the final cost of 5.3 million Reichsmarks almost bankrupt UFA, the German National Film Company. According to UFA press releases, over 600 kilometers or 350 hours of film were shot. After the premiere January 10, 1927, it played at a single theater until May, and estimates say that only about 15,000 viewers saw the full version, making it an early financial cinematic flop. Metropolis officially premiered in Berlin with a length of 153 minutes. The actual time is difficult to determine, as 24 frames per second was not yet an industry standard, and indications are the premiere was screened at 26 frames per second. As was common at the time, the cinematographer rolled cameras to capture 3 printable takes of each shot to create 3 master prints. Metropolis was to be distributed in the U.S. by Paraphomet, a company formed in 1925 by Paramount Pictures and Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, which loaned $4 million to UFA. Paramount and MGM's distribution deal entitled them to make any changes to films produced by UFA that they found appropriate to ensure profitability. For the American release, Paramount commissioned playwright Channing Pollock to reassemble the film and to create new intertitles, and the American premiere was between 105 and 116 minutes. The second print of the film was similarly edited for the English release and premiered at 128 minutes. The third master print of the movie was edited for the German market and premiered in August at around 118 minutes. Nazi censors demanded more cuts, and in 1936, UFA distributed a version at 91 minutes. This was a version of Metropolis that people would see for the next 60 years. Much of the edited footage was lost, but over the years missing scenes have surfaced, and in 2008, a 16mm version of the original film was found in a basement in Argentina. The latest restored version has intercut scenes from the 16mm version, and historians believe it is close to the original 1927 cut. Metropolis's legacy as a pioneering science fiction film cannot be questioned. Many contemporary science fiction tropes originated in Metropolis. The mad scientist with the artificial hand returns in movies from The Empire Strikes Back to Mad Max Fury Road. The half-woman, half-machine spawned RoboCop, Terminator, and CP3O. Rotwang's laboratory can be seen in movies from Frankenstein to Donovan's Brain. The numbered underground workers are echoed in George Lucas's THX 1138. Special effects like the spinning transformation circles have become science fiction cliches. The plot of Metropolis could be called convoluted at best. H.G. Wells, the noted science fiction writer, described the plot of Metropolis as silly. I do not believe it would be possible to make one sillier. Led by the supreme ruler Jah, the citizens of the surface lead a life of luxury, while deep below the surface, the workers, led by the foreman Grot, toil endlessly. Jah's son Frieder, seeing a mysterious woman from the underground city, follows her. Maria prophesies the coming of a mediator that will unite the classes. Meanwhile, the mad inventor Rotwang has created a female robot to resurrect his lost love who died giving birth to Frieder. Ja orders Rotwang to give the robot Maria's likeness to ruin her standing with the workers. The Maria robot drives the workers into a frenzy, destroying the heart machine and flooding the underground city with their children in it. Fortunately, the real Maria and Frieder save the children. The mob burns the robot at the stake. Frieder tosses Rotwang from the roof and ultimately fulfills his role as the mediator. You know, H.G. Wells was probably right.